The Hidden Hindu, Book 1 of the trilogy by Akshat Gupta, Chapter 7, Existence Exhibited. This is part 2. I had to split it in half. Sorry, guys. Alright, I think we left off here. Parashurama has played crucial roles in the Ramayana and the Mahabharata as the mentor of Bhishma, Karna, and Drona. Drona is mostly referred to as Dronacharya, meaning teacher. He was the mentor of the Kauravas, who were 100 brothers, and the Pandavas, who were 5. Abhilash was adept at explaining concepts and facts pertaining to Hinduism. Now, why are you going astray, Abhilash? What is the point you are driving at? Shahishta was in no mood to listen to lengthy lectures on Hinduism. The gist of the story is that Parashurama has appeared in every yuga and is an immortal. Abhilash, it's interesting to hear all these tales from you and you recite them well. They are adding to my knowledge and might help me in the interrogation too, said Dr. Butcher gratefully. Thank you. This is what I've been called here for, I suppose, Abhilash replied rather humbly. Tell me about Ashwatthama, said Dr. Butcher. Abhilash answered. Dronacharya was the royal preceptor for the Kauravas and the Pandavas. He was a master of advanced military arts, including the divine weapons of Divya Astras. Aryana was his favorite student. Learning that Parashurama was giving away his possessions to Brahmins, Drona approached him. Unfortunately, Parashurama only had his weapons left. He offered to give Drona the weapons as well as the knowledge of how to use them. Thus, Drona obtained all of his weapons and his title of Acharya, and people called him Dronacharya. Abhilash, I asked you about Ashwatthama, not some Dronacharya, said Dr. Butcher. To which Abhilash replied, Sir, it is important to know about Dronacharya to understand who Ashwatthama is. Dronacharya did many years of severe penance to please Lord Shiva in order to obtain a son who possessed the same valiance as Lord Shiva himself, and so came Droni, also called Ashwatthama. Ashwatthama possessed the same valor as Lord Shiva. He was a mighty fighter who fought against the Pandavas on the Kauravas' side. He and his maternal uncle Kapikara were the only 2 survivors of the war. Ashwatthama was an invincible warrior, is believed to be the master of the science of weapons. He possessed complete mastery over 64 forms of art and 18 vidyas, or branches of knowledge. Religious texts say that he will be the next Vyasa, and also that he became one of the Saptarishis. Ashwatthama is one of the 7 immortals. He is believed to still be alive. He was born with a gem on his forehead, which gave him power over all other living things lower than the humans. In fortitude, he was equal to a mountain. In energy to fire. In gravity, he was equal to an ocean. And in wrath, the poison of a snake. The gem protected him from the attacks of ghosts, demons, poisonous insects, and animals. Dronacharya loved his son very much. Dronacharya and Ashwatthama were loyal to Hastinapur, the kingdom of Dhritarashtra, the father of Kauravas. Ashwatthama's father, Dronacharya, was the best of all warriors. Lord Krishna knew that it was not possible to defeat Dronacharya when he had a bow and arrow in his hands. Krishna also knew that Dronacharya loved his son Ashwatthama very dearly. So Krishna suggested to Yudhishthira and other Pandava brothers that if he was convinced that his son was killed on the battlefield, that Dronacharya would be desolate and would disarm himself in grief. Lord Krishna suggested that Brahma, one of the Pandavas, kill an elephant kill the elephant by the name Ashwatthama and claim to Dronacharya that he had killed Dronacharya's son Ashwatthama. After killing the elephant, as advised, Bhima loudly declared that he had killed Ashwatthama. Dronacharya, however, did not believe Bhima's words and approached Yudhishthira. the eldest among the Pandavas. Drona knew that Yudhishthira's firm devotion to the truth and that he would never utter a lie. When Danyakari approached Yudhishthira and questioned him as to whether his son was dead, Yudhishthira responded, "Ashwatha is dead, but it was an elephant and not your son." Krishna also knew that it was not possible for Yudhishthira to lie outright. On his instructions, the other warriors blew trumpets and conches, raising a joyous noise in such a way that Danyakara only heard that Ashwatthama is dead, but could not hear that later part of Yathana's reply. Out of grief and believing his son was dead, Danyakara descended from his chariot, laid down his arms, and sat in meditation. Closing his eyes, his soul went to heaven by astral travel in search of Ashwatthama's soul. While he was defenseless, he was executed by the Pandavas. Thus, on the 15th day of the 18th day battle, Guru Danyakara was killed by the unfair means used by Lord Krishna and the Pandava brothers. The incident took Ashwatthama aback, and so he decided to anyhow end the chapter of the Pandavas. On the last day of the war, after Danyahan's defeat, Danyahan was the eldest of the Kavaras, the 100 brothers. The very disturbed and restless Ashwatthama was sitting sleepless under a large tree. An owl attacking a group of crows caught his attention. This gave him an idea of attacking the Pandavas' camp at night. With a few surviving warriors, he attacked the camp on the 18th night of the war. Ashwatthama burned the entire Pandava camp to ashes, leaving nothing behind. He moved on and killed many prominent warriors of their army too. He also killed all 5 of the Pandava sons, the Upper Pandavas, while they were asleep, believing them to be the 5 Pandava brothers. In some versions of the story, he knew that they weren't the Pandavas, but killed them anyway, because he couldn't find their fathers. Ashwatthama believed that it was acceptable for him to attack the unsuspecting Pandavas due to his father's death by unjust means. Although he did believe his vengeance to be justified, he was warned by people of his own side that it was not. When the Pandavas returned to camp, the Lord Krishna, after the night, incensed over the act, Lord Krishna cursed Ashwatthama with immorality and a diseased life till the end of Kali Yuga, and took the gem off Ashwatthama's forehead, saying, "This will never heal." This was the story of Ashwatthama. The story is completely unbelievable, and yet the legend of Ashwatthama would make the people of Hindu faith believe it. Apparently, a 5,000-year-old man has been found living in some temples in the Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. The team of Z News visited shrines like Liloti Nath Temple and Shivadrapur Temple and the Kashwar Temple in UP and everywhere. The legend of this man existed. The news channel experts stayed the whole night outside the closed doors of the temple with their cameras on just to find out who comes in and offers water and flowers to the statues before the doors open. No one came, but in the early morning when the doors were open, they found that the prayers were already performed, the water and flowers scattered in the closed premises. Locals believe that this 5,000-year-old man is actually Ashwatthama from an epic Mahabharata. In each temple, he performs puja every morning at dawn, offering water to the idols. This happens every day without fail, even when the temple doors are locked. The reporter also spoke to some doctors, pujaris, and residents to verify the story. There was a newspaper article more than a decade ago about a railway employee on leave. During his wanderings in the jungles of Navasari, Gujarat, he had reported a very tall man, about 12 feet, with a wound on his head. He claimed to have had a conversation with him and learnt that Bhim was much taller and stronger than him. Abhilash concluded. There cannot be anything else but just stories. You mentioned Danakyara in both the description. Parashurama and Ashwatthama, asked Dr. Batra. Yes, Ashwatthama is Danakyara's son and Parashurama is Danyakara's mentor. Both of them are believed to be seen in different yugas, thousands of years apart. In fact, legend goes that there is an Indian village near Burhanpur where there is a fort called Asagar. According to the locals, Ashwatthama still comes and offers flowers to the Shiva Linga in the fort every morning. Some other people have claimed to see Ashwatthama walking and living among the tribes in the Himalayan foothills, replied Abhilash. Let us move towards our sleeping cabins now, LSD proposed. She rose from her seat immediately. All the others left their seats along with her and walked behind Abhilash, guided by the guards.